What is up, and welcome back to Beyond the Arc with Brandon Silvers. As always, I am your host, Brandon Silvers. If you read my weekly sports watch guide, link is in the show notes if you're interested. You know I'm a huge fan of the new Unrivaled League, but I haven't talked about it on here yet. So I brought in someone who is an expert in this very subject matter. You know her from Sports with Aliyah. She's also an official content creator with Unrivaled Basketball. Super cool to be joined by Aliyah Funschelle. Aliyah, what's going on?
Hey, how are you? I'm so excited to be on and to talk about Unrivaled, so it's going to be a good one.
Yes. So let's get into it for the people who may not be familiar yet. What is new about this league, particularly in terms of the format of the gameplay?
Yeah, so it's full court 3-on-3, which is very exciting. It's a condensed court, not as big as a normal WNBA court, but still full court, so it's a very fast-paced game, and it's the biggest stars in the WNBA going to head-to-head every single night, every weekend, and so it's really fun to watch, and you really get to see like the individual skills of each player. So it long story short, like that's just the snippet of what it is.
Yeah, I think it's really cool too. Not only you have these stars, but the 3-on-3 aspect kind of makes it to where you can't really hide anybody. Like you're out there, you have to perform every possession. And that really lets the competitiveness of these players come through too, because they're like, I don't want to be out here and get embarrassed.
Oh yeah, and it really helps them fine tune those skills. Like, I don't know how deep into the X's and O's you want to get right off the bat, but Sabrina Ionescu, as someone that's covered her for the last 2.5-3 years, like I know that her defense and her mid-range was something that she really wanted to work on from the 2023 season to 2024, and it drastically improved between those seasons, but now I feel like she really gets to work on that. And she's just one example of many, but this is really going to fine-tune her defense. Like, you can't 3-on-3, like defense is huge, and it's also been really cool to see her work on her mid-range. So, like, that's just one example of all the different things that this 3-on-3 environment helps players, like, really get better.
Yeah, and that's a really cool thing, too, because, again, this is their off-season. So for them to come out during their off-season and be willing to work on these weaknesses like that, that's awesome. Not everyone is built mentally like that to where they can do that.
Yeah. Exactly. So it's been really fun to watch. I got to watch it in person during opening week, and it was awesome. It felt like a ping pong match or tennis match where it's like you're looking back and forth. It's going so fast, but it's a really cool product.
Yeah, they're certainly going to be ready for when training camp starts.
Definitely.
The conditioning is unreal. And on top of the 3-on-3 aspect, it also has a really interesting way where games are ended with the target score. Yeah.
So it's very similar to, I don't know if you've ever heard of the Elam ending. I covered the basketball tournament, the TVT, which is an alumni basketball tournament, and they have something called the Elam ending, and this is essentially the same thing. They call it the winning score, or like the target score. And so at Unrivaled, at the end of the third quarter, you add 11 points to the winning team's score, and then that's the winning score. So whichever team hits that winning score target first wins. And you'd be surprised. I feel like a lot of people thought, oh, okay, that's going to be so easy for the winning team. Like, they have it in the bag. I saw a lot of great comebacks. Like, people that were, like, teams that were down big in the third quarter step it up and actually win. So it makes for every ending to be like that playoffs feel, buzzer beater feel, because there's a winning basket. It doesn't just let, like, time expire.
Yes, you've got the game-winning shot for every game, and then the winning team can't just be passive and kind of wait for the clock to run out. They have to keep being proactive and attacking.
Exactly. No, I love it.
No, it is fantastic. So I feel like we've covered the basics if you're not familiar with the gameplay. We're a couple weeks in. What are some interesting storylines you've noticed that have developed with the league playing?
Well, I mean, first and foremost, like, this has nothing to do with Unrivaled, but the fact that WNBA free agency is happening alongside Unrivaled and Athletes Unlimited, which is another women's basketball league for the off season, like, they're all staying in Miami right now in the same living environment, in the same city. Like, So that's a crazy like subplot that's happening in Unrivaled. But I think the biggest thing is that the two founders, and I'm going to be very candid and not give like a PR answer, like the two founders are having drastically different experiences. So Nafisa Collier, she's on the Lunar Owls and they're 4-0. Nafisa was the first player to hit 100 points within 3 games, I think the stat was. And then Brianna Stewart, who loves to win, very competitive, her team is 0-4, the Mist. So they've yet to get a win. And I think that's like a crazy storyline. I mean, obviously they're going to pick up a game. They're going to get it together. But I just think it's a little ironic that the two founders of this league are the ones that are like having such different experiences within the league. But that just kind of goes to show that it's hard to gel even with the best players. It's hard to find a rhythm sometimes, you know, and it's playing with people that you might not have played with before or that you might have had to defend. And now you're like having to pass to them. Like it's all new and it's just a matter of teams figuring each other out sooner rather than later. But yeah, I think that's one of the storylines. The Laces are a great story. They're also undefeated. They have just such a stacked team. So that's been one of my favorite like teams to watch. So there's just so many storylines and so many games, and it's just like it's so fun.
Yeah, to go back to the Fee and Stewie storyline, I think that is interesting because you would that kind of dispels any conspiracy theories that the league is stacked in favor of the owners. Yeah.
Well, also, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I think something that not a lot of people know is how the teams were chosen.
Yes.
If you want me to talk about that real quick.
Absolutely.
Because it is like, of course, like the two founders are going to have like the most stacked teams, but basically the teams were drafted by all of the head coaches before the coaches knew which team would be theirs. So they were completely unbiased. They sat in this conference room, Unrivaled documented everything. It's like a 30-minute long like YouTube video. So you have all the head coaches being like, this team is perfectly balanced. Oh, wait, let's switch out Nafisa for Brianna. Like they were moving them around like chess pieces. It literally felt like it was like some sort of chess game. And none of these coaches knew which basketball team would be theirs. And then after the teams were set, then the coaches got selected for their teams. So it was completely unbiased and balanced. So that's a fun fact right there.
I like that.
Yeah.
And kind of tying the Fee Stewie thing back to the free agency news, I do wonder how many super teams we're going to see come out of Unrivaled and Athletes Unlimited too, where everyone is together and they're able to interact and recruit and everything. But like you said too, this kind of shows in the W, you might be able to put together a super team on paper, but it's not as easy as we're just going to roll the balls out and go hoop.
Yeah. I mean, even with the 2023 New York Liberty, I know they went all the way to the finals and then eventually lost to the Aces. But it took a while for the Liberty to gel at first when they first assembled that super team. Like everyone was kind of like, what is going on? It was, there's a lot of like bumps in the road. So you're very right. Like some super teams on paper might not translate as well on the court. So I'm really interested to see how this plays out.
Yes. And you mentioned the Laces too and how they're stacked. And I got to talk about them because they are stacked, but I feel like they're doing it with players that you don't necessarily think of as like true top tier W superstars, but they are hooping.
Well, especially because one of their superstars, Jackie Young, who's probably their biggest name on the team, besides Alyssa Thomas, like she hasn't played a single game yet because she's been injured.
One of the Marina Mabry cooking casualties, I believe.
Exactly. But one that I love that's been going off is Steph Dolson. I love Steph. Like I know her really well. And I don't think that many people know that she is so versatile. Like she can knock down threes like no one's business. So I think she's one of the bigs that's really benefiting from 3-on-3 because she really gets to show like, hey, I could be a big if you want me to. Like she was guarding Angel Reese, shut her down. But like she can also kind of like do it all, like especially with her shooting. And Of course, Kate Martin. Everyone loves Kate.
Yeah.
And then my personal favorite is Alyssa Thomas and Kayla McBride. Like, they just have such good synergy going on. I know AT got hurt. Not sure how serious it is, or like if they've given an update on like when she's coming back. But like the two of them together were just, it was magical.
Yeah, we saw a little bit of Kayla with the Lynx last year, and you could see everything she could do. But I feel like this format for her is perfect. Like, you're really getting a chance to see a lot of these players' bags. And even Tiffany Hayes, we talked about players trying new things, and she's like running the point and everything. This was someone who was retired this time last season, and she's out here doing all this. I'm like, what in the world?
Yeah, no, they have like just overall great team chemistry, and they're so fun to watch.
Yeah. And kind of speaking to the Sabrina point from earlier and the Tiffany Hayes point, who else have you seen as someone who obviously keeps up with women's hoops, who's been doing things where you're like, oh, I didn't know they had that?
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like as someone that's super tuned into the league, I'm like, oh, like I've known they can do that, but now it's just like the world getting to see it. I mean, Ryan Howard, like, I know people that love the dream or love the WNBA know that she's like that. Like, they know that she's a dog, but I think Unrivaled really put her in the spotlight a little bit more. The broadcast loves talking about her too because of her 3-on-3 experience with Team USA. But she's another one where it's like, I feel like the casual fans, and there's nothing wrong with the casual fan, but like, I feel like the casual fans don't realize the superstar that she is. And I feel like she's one of those people that's just like thriving in this environment. And with all the media attention, like, she really is getting a lot of love. So I think she's one of them. I mean, it's great to see Kate just continue to develop she's so lucky. Like, she's had such amazing like vets on her W team and now her Unrivaled team that really help her, like, take her under their wing and like help her out. So like, she's another one who's like really getting to develop, especially because Golden State is basically like, you know, like, she was the first person they drafted. Like, they want to build a franchise around her. So like, I just feel like she's really developed some more too.
Yeah. And to the Ryan Howard point, I'm in Charleston, South Carolina, so when I go to games, I go to Dream Games. One of the best players I've seen post-game interacting with fans.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like she kind of comes off as kind of shy or understated.
Yeah. After
that, she's always interacting with, especially the kids and everything after those games. Just an incredible person in addition to being a great player.
Yeah, no, Sylvia Fowles she lives in Miami, and so she came to one of the games I was at, and her and Ryan were interacting, and they remind me a lot of each other, where it's like, on the court, I would be afraid of them, like, but then they are so gentle and like soft-spoken and very personable people. So that's another thing too, like with Unrivaled, is these fans that are in person are really getting like the VIP treatment, because these players are really taking the time to sign autographs, take pictures, and it's really cool to see.
Yeah, definitely. And I want to talk about too, they just announced the one-on-one contest.
Yeah.
That is one of the most interesting aspects of the league, because this is something I've heard a lot of talk about on the men's side for years, and I don't think you will ever see it, because your pride is on the line.
Yeah.
But these women are showing up and doing it, and it's a lot of respect to them for that. But give the details around that, and we'll try to figure out who might come away as the winner.
Yeah, I don't have the official 30 players pulled up, but basically they're in different pods, and it's kind of like a queen of the court situation where like you win your pod, you move on to the next part of the bracket. And there's a ton of money on the line. I think it was $250,000, but I saw something starting with the 3 floating around. So I don't know if it got bumped up to $325,000 maybe. I don't know.
I just pulled it up so we know what we're talking about. Yeah. There was a lot of different information, so I do want to make sure we do get it correct. So let's see. It's the $350,000 prize pool, and the winner gets $200K. Runner-up receives $50,000, and the other 2 semifinalists will get $25,000.
Okay. Yes, that's insane. That's a whole WNBA salary right there.
Yeah, that makes me like, I would be out there too. I don't blame them.
Yeah.
Lord, And that's one thing about this league too, where the investment, the dollars
Mm-hmm.
are there, and it pays dividends.
Yeah. Yeah. The one-on-one is going to be crazy. I mean, I'm really looking forward to seeing Kayla McBride and Courtney Williams in it. Just because I think like they are very crafty. I mean, Kayla's tough. Like she will go through a brick wall if she needs to. And then Courtney Williams, she has so much up her sleeve. Like she can, her ball handling, her shooting, like, and she is very, very gritty. I mean, you saw her try to block Brittany Griner, which is crazy. She got a hand on the ball. That was awesome. So like, I'm really excited for those two, especially, but yeah, it's very cinematic.
Yeah, I believe 30 of the 36 players are playing. Just running through the list. Yeah, they've got, Chelsea Gray is playing. Let's be for real. Jewel Lloyd. Tiffany Hayes, who we talked about. Jackie Young, assuming she's healthy.
Mm-hmm.
And, McBride, Arike. I don't know. This is going to be fun to watch.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be really good.
And I do want to say, too, I'm not 100% sure when we're dropping this episode, but part of the seeding, I know, is decided by a fan vote. So if you're watching this, listening to this, and you think that one of your favorite players needs to be a 1 seed, go on over to the Unrivaled League website and vote.
Yeah. I mean, I completely, even before I signed with Unrivaled as a creator, I loved how involved they got the fans from day one, with the dropping the hints on the rosters or taking people behind the scenes of what it's like to build a league from scratch. You don't really get that access with other things. And I really like how involved the fans get to be with the whole process from start to finish.
Yeah, it's been really fun. And just as someone who is old enough to remember when the W first started, to be able to see all these off-season leagues where the players can stay here and play at home is like a dream come true.
Definitely. I mean, Alyssa Thomas mentioned that in an interview, this was her first, holidays home and forever. Joanna Bonner was on a plane coming to watch her, courtside. It's really cool just to see them thrive here in the States and to get what they're worth, to get paid.
Yes.
To get treated like the stars that they are. I mean, the facility at Unrivaled's amazing. All the amenities, all the sponsors, it's really awesome. And they've deserved this for so long.
1,000,000%. And I think too, because I'm sure you're the same way, I try to keep up with the players in the off season when they're overseas. Not always the easiest thing, whether that's finding the streams or the time even. But this is TNT, True TV, Max. You can turn it on, you can watch it. Exactly.
No, I've clicked on some really shady links before trying to watch people overseas, and I'm like, hopefully this isn't a computer virus. But it's really cool, too, that all of these deals came through before there was even a product on the court, which is insane.
Yeah.
But that just goes to show that people really believe in women's basketball and women's sports. And also, I think it's different, too, something that's player-led and driven. I feel like there's just that extra level of all of the players want this to succeed because they all have, stake in this company. It's not just we're playing in it and we get money. It's no, they get to be part of it. And the better the league does, the more they make. And it's like a passion project for all of them. It gets them all involved. So I think that's what's cool about it too.
Yeah, absolutely. So as an official content creator, I know you mentioned going to some of the games as well. What are some of the coolest moments you've had just working in that capacity with the league?
Yeah, I mean, the coolest thing is just being here for the inaugural season, as an official content creator for them, because as soon as this league was started, that went on my vision board. I'm like, that is what I want to be a part of. Especially working so closely with the Liberty. Me and Stewie have this cute little relationship. All my followers are like, you and Stewie are besties, because she's always interacting with my camera and giving me funny one-liners to post. So as soon as I saw her name involved, she's been one of my favorite players since I was little. I mean, I was a post player, and seeing someone like her thrive in everywhere she goes, I was like, oh, I want to be like her. So I mean, seeing her involved with it, and Nafisa, they're great. And then I just love, women's basketball. But so just being here for the inaugural season, but where I really thrive is like the in-person coverage. So being in Miami was so special because I like to try to pick up on those moments that maybe the broadcast won't show. Like maybe it could be like the smallest moment happening between like two players that's like really cute or funny or fun. Like I just like to show that side of the players. So that's been like the best part.
No, it's been awesome just to watch and kind of live vicariously through your coverage. Has been really cool.
Oh, thank you.
And I know we have a pretty decent amount of season left. What are some things you might be excited for or that people need to tune in for other than the one-on-one tournament, or anything cool you think that people need to be like, okay, I need to put this on the calendar, make sure I'm watching?
Yeah, I mean, definitely these playoffs are going to be crazy. Between like the playoff environment and also the fact that the fourth quarter has that winning score, I feel like it's going to feel like March Madness almost, when there's like a buzzer beater or like something like that. It just gives off that vibe. Like, so I think like playoffs obviously are going to be huge, but I also think like, I don't want to jinx like Lunar Owls or Laces because they are so stacked, but like basketball obviously is a game of runs, but I feel like so can winning streaks. Like anyone can go on a winning streak or a run, and other people can have down days. So I'm interested to see if the league shakes up anymore. Like if like Phantom and the Miss actually do go on a winning streak and things kind of get turned upside down. Like there's so much season left that I feel like anything can happen. And so I feel like that's definitely something I'm keeping an eye out for.
Especially like we talked about some of the injuries. Some of these players, we're assuming, are going to be healthy and come back and be able to contribute. So
yeah, exactly.
There's still a lot of games left. I'm looking, the regular season doesn't end until March 10th.
Yeah.
So a lot of games left.
Exactly.
Yeah. So definitely tune in. If you want more from Aliyah, where can we find your stuff, Aliyah?
Yeah, I'm pretty easy to find because my name is very unique. I'm on Instagram and TikTok at Aliyah Funschelle, and then for X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it, it's a little bit more condensed, so just Aliyah Fun. But yeah, I'm all over the place. Like, just type in my name, you'll find me. I post a lot, so I'll be easy to find.
No, absolutely. Definitely tap in because, like she said, and like I'm saying, she's got the behind-the-scenes stuff as well. So you get all this coverage, whether it's on TNT, you get to hear Candace Parker talk about basketball, by the way. Always fun. And you get Aliyah behind the scenes. It's a fantastic league. It's more hoops. I mean, I don't understand. Do you not like more basketball? What's wrong?
Exactly.
I don't understand. Like, figure it out. But no, this has been awesome. Super informative. Thank you so much for coming on.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Definitely. All right. Well, that will do it for this week's episode, and I will catch y'all later.